Have a desire to take your conversation to its highest potential? If you do, hop on over to my website and check out the School of Reform. Yes, school is most definitely in. Knowing Bible is the course that I am now offering to take your conversation to its next level. Grow closer not simply with the philosophy that is within the Bible, grow closer not simply with the devotional character of the living God, but grow closer with yourself also. So head on over to my website, check out the School of Reform, and check out Knowing Bible. This is a course for the learner that wants to make their life, both personal and devotional, more full. Happy Tuesday. So before we begin, just want to let you know I've been getting an increase in sales for clothes, which is surprising. Some shirts just sold. And I just want to do something for the upcoming holiday and then a little beyond. So I'm having a site-wide off apparel, 40% off. So jump on over there. I know you may have some carts. Go ahead and fulfill those carts and begin to represent the message of not simply just wearing clothes with words, but a message that seeps right beneath the skin, right beyond the visceral, right past the visceral of the soul, goes into the visceral of the inward person's character, thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors, and then transcends right back up to the Creator. Yes, all of that is possible through clothing once you put them on, because it's more than just clothing. It's principles that are basic life, which touches on this evening, which is still continuing the same thought as before, letting go, but the interesting part of that is letting go for the purpose of belief. So when you think about belief, and when you think about letting go, what comes to mind? Like, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about letting go and when you think about belief? What comes to my mind is emptiness, the need for emptiness. Emptiness to not simply retain, but to remain retaining part of what we need to retain from that experience. And that reminds me of Genesis 1, creation. And it reminds me of Genesis 1, creation, because that word emptiness, it's easily translated as void. Emptiness, void. Easily translatable. So the aspect of emptiness, when it comes to belief, it's the fact that there is a void there now that we have let go of our previous thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors related to our spirituality, related to our philosophy, related to our theology, related to our religion. We are now void. And being void is exactly what the Creator needs in order to work. So we're putting to test that first chapter of Genesis to see if it's actually true. Is creation the intention of the mind that created us? Is creation the intention of our living Father, of our living God? And we can only know that if we are willing to risk void. And that means risking voiding, meaning voiding out our beliefs and assumptions and preconceived notions and inherited or adopted thoughts and feelings. Voiding out, but it also means becoming a void. And in becoming a void, we open up ourselves for the opportunity to no longer be a void or no longer be empty. We open up ourselves to receive light, but we also open up ourselves to receive darkness. And that means we open up ourselves to understand that there's a difference between light and darkness, which is what we need. So we then open up ourselves to receive a firmament, and then to receive a separation of a firmament. And then we open up ourselves to receive ground, and then waters, and then different lights to divide the light from the dark. So we, in our own selves, are becoming the world that is to be created. And that's really what I'm getting at, talking about emptiness, approaching the experience of our faith empty. Sure, we enter into a belief. Sure, we enter into beliefs of what we consume and what we may inevitably adopt due to what we consume. But the more that our faith goes on with simply just being a consumer, the more that it will begin to feel agitated, because just consuming, it's just weird. The thing about us consuming, we get out of shape when all we do is consume. Whether it is in our mind or within our body, we get out of shape. Same thing with our faith. If our faith is continually consuming, our faith will get out of shape and will get agitated, and then our faith will talk to us. When our faith talks to us, that's when the experience starts getting real, because then a decision needs to get made. Are we going to continue to be consumers for the sake of not wanting to have a faith that may or may not be what is not popular, or what is not accepted, or what is contrary to the traditional experience, to have an experience of its own? Or will we actually do that? Let our faith have its own experience to breathe. Will we accept the feeling of voidness? Man, did I just invent another word? Voidness? Will we accept the feeling of the void instead of running from it? Because most often than not, that's really what we do. And when we do, we put off the work of creation. And it's funny because depending on who we are, and depending on where we're coming from, and our environment, and how our environment has shaped us, when we hear certain things about the Bible after a period of time, when we know that what we're hearing is true, it's going to turn us off from the Bible altogether. It's going to turn us off because we put so much confidence in what we have grown accustomed to, and we have not known personally if what we've grown accustomed to is actually fact or not. In the time to come, when our faith actually hears what's real, we, not our faith, we, meaning we, our human being will shake, because the experience thus far has been human. Meanwhile, our faith is talking to us like, listen, what you're hearing is real. I get it. You're disturbed. I'm cool. You're disturbed. Your world's flipped upside down. Let me take over. And that's really what that feeling is. Even in life, when we think about the hardship that we go through, different points that we reach, states of depression, states of doubting self, lacking self-worth, lacking self-confidence, and then thoughts creep into our head that cause us to shake about what can happen. That shaking isn't because we're scared. See, a better way to look at it is the shaking that we have because of the loss we anticipate suffering is because that unprofitable, that unbeneficial character within us, it's shaking because it knows that it's coming to an end. It's shaking because it knows that it's coming to an end. Every situation we go through that makes us feel afraid, every situation we go through that brings us anxiety, every situation we go through that makes us feel like there is no end and that there is no living God or creator watching, the reason we feel that way, it's because the spirit or the character that is within us that is unhealthy, It's shaking because the experience that it is now going through and that it will go through will expose itself to being fraudulent. And it is the exposure of that character being fraudulent that's the growth. And what is shaking in us and giving us anxiety is afraid of that. It's the same thing with our faith. When our faith feels the need to separate from what it knows to learn personally for its own experience, when our faith understands that what it's hearing is true, but yet our human being is continually denying it, our human being and our faith are going to go through a bit of a transaction where one is shaking and one isn't. It's not our faith that is worried about what we're hearing, about what we're experiencing, what we're feeling. It's our human being and the experience connected to our faith from a human-centered perspective that is worried. When our faith is calling us to separate, to go deeper into prayer, to understand more of a relationship with the living God and the Creator apart from what it thought it knew, that feeling of anxiety that we feel is because the character within us understands that it is diminishing. And when it is diminishing, that means a refreshing or a resurrection is happening. And that means a new lifestyle is happening. And that's what also brings it fear. The fear of a new lifestyle, a new change of thought, a new change of being, and how that will look not just to us, but to the people around us. So there's a lot of factors that play a part in us not wanting to pass through the experience of being the void, but we put our faith's character at a risk because the living God can only work when we are that void, when we consent to be that void. And that's really the point I'm touching on when it comes to letting go. Letting go and ceasing to control the religious experience or the devotional experience or the spiritual experience or the holistic experience. Letting that go so that we can gain it. And that's really a philosophy that was found in the book of John and also the other three. Is only when that corn of wheat dies will it come back to life. Only them that hate their life in this world will gain it, not world secular, world devotional, world spiritual, world philosophical. And so when we're willing to risk the losing of the realm that we hold dear, the devotional or spiritual or philosophical or holistic realm that we hold dear that's connected to the Bible, we're willing to risk it, that's actually when we gain it. And why? Because that's when creation begins. When we are nothing. And not we as impersonal, we as our faith's character. When our faith's character accepts the nothingness that it is, when it can fulfill the saying, and they both were naked and were not ashamed. So when our faith can go through that experience of existing in its nakedness and not being ashamed, it's then that the Creator can work. Because that's the only canvas that the Creator can paint on. You can't have a painting that's fresh, painted on a canvas that has already a painting on it, that already has a painting on it. We have a painting on it already. Our canvas is laced with theories, opinions, beliefs, systems, so on and so forth, inherited and self-cultivated. But, and that's cool, let that be. But that canvas, we can't say that that's from our Creator. We can't say that, as the Psalm says, from our Maker. And in what way is that making? It is by canvas, or it is by what is written within. And if what is written within already has a canvas that's painted, then I don't know. Is Picasso or anybody else going to be doing any work on that? I don't think so. It has to be empty. And canvas, not even like art, music. Canvas, taking that to any sort of context where emptiness is needed in order for a flow or scheme of sound or vibration to match the hand that should be creating and the experience to go with it. The realm could not be created without that void. And here's the crazy part. The crazy part is the earth, in and of itself, had to accept being devoid or being void in order for it to be created on. It had to accept that state. It didn't have to accept that state. We can see, for example, there's trees and things in nature that are living, and then there's trees and things in nature that die. There's things that are first planted that don't grow. There's things that are first planted that grow. Everything in nature has an option to listen to the elements that conduct its particles coming together to form what it should be. Everything has an option to listen. And the earth in the beginning did not have, or had the choice or the option not to listen. What it didn't have was a spirit that would not listen, as it says in the book of Isaiah, I was not rebellious, I turned not my ear away. He wakeneth me morning by morning and teaches me, just as to learn. Same thing. We have to take nature as our example. So the creation's finished. Like looking outside and being like, oh wow, I can see God out there. That's how I know God exists. That's not it. That's not that. What we're seeing outside is supposed to mirror what is supposed to be going on within. Outside is an orderly system. And that orderly system is supposed to represent us within. We don't have what's out there. So that means the creator is actually not finished. The work is supposed to go on within. But it can't go on if our canvas is continually not simply just finished, but we're continuing to add on to that canvas strokes and colors and schemes and shapes and whatnot. We gotta start fresh, and that's what I mean by letting go. Letting go of what we think we know for the purpose of accepting the void. And when I think about that, I think about the different Eastern religions like Buddhism, who have like shunyata, which is not the same, but it translates to emptiness. But depending on the context, the meaning changes. But the same emptiness that we are to take when approaching our faith, the same process of letting go and believing. We once believed we knew, now we should believe that we know nothing, for the purpose of receiving understanding to form new creation, get new furniture in that house that we're building, get new foundation for the house that we're building. That is a temple devoted to the creator of our experience. That sort of emptiness, that sort of quote unquote void, that's the realm of creation. And that's from Genesis to Revelation, what the philosophy of the Bible is about. It's about creation. So it's Tuesday. Rest of the week, think about creation. Everything you go through, it's about creation. Everything you anticipate going through, it's about creation. So think creation and go through it peacefully and as a learning experience, and just enter into it empty. Take care for now. This is your host, Linwood Jackson Jr., checking in with you. How are you? Thank you. Thank you, family, for checking into this program. Thank you for staying tuned continually to Justification. This is a much needed topic, and based on the conversations I've had with different people, whether they be pastor or lay, It is at this time that there is a need to understand more of what the Bible is saying. And so I want to invite you to check out the book, Justification, of which this show is based off of. Check out this book. It is an in-depth research book based on this term, justification, and it allows you, the reader, to know what you can do, what I can do, what we can do collectively to make our lifestyle, devotional lifestyle, to make our devotional lifestyle that much more better, so that our human lifestyle can understand the correction it needs to make in order for the two to marry. So check out this book and please continue to enjoy this program. Family, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for being attentive to the message. Everything that I'm giving to you has been placed and laced onto my heart by our Father, and due to its benefit in my life, I have been inspired to share it with others. And the reactions that I'm getting have been beautiful because we're all going through the same thing. We're all going through the same thing. We're all going through the same struggle. We all got the same attitudes. We all got the same everything. But it helps to know that there is a mind that crafted a wisdom who is the creator of our human being and our conversations, conscience, and body. And so, taking all of this into perspective, it made such an impression on me. I'm thankful to you for being attentive. And I'm thankful to you for caring also for your own human and devotional or spiritual condition. So I'm interrupting this meeting, a meeting in which I know you are being fed, to give a shout out to my sponsors. Grammarly, thank you. Grammarly, if you are into writing as I am, if writing is your life as writing is my life, Grammarly is the key to use to get your writing beyond par. Beyond par. It's simple to use, very simple to use, and it's very key to getting to the point of what isn't so obvious in your writing. So if you are a writer like me, publishing, any sort of blogging, anything that you do, that you put out to benefit another, Grammarly is the way to go. And also the American Bible Society, Bibles.com. The American Bible Society, if you love the Bible like I do, and if you need a new Bible or just would like a collection, American Bible Society, you can find everything and anything related to the Bible on this website. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Have a desire to take your conversation to its highest potential? If you do, hop on over to my website and check out the School of Reform. Yes, school is most definitely in. Knowing Bible is the course that I am now offering to take your conversation to its next level. Grow closer not simply with the philosophy that is within the Bible, grow closer not simply with the devotional character of the living God, but grow closer with yourself also. So head on over to my website, check out the School of Reform, and check out Knowing Bible. This is a course for the learner that wants to make their life, both personal and devotional, more full.